Jake, thank you so much for making time with me. And before we start talking about one of my favorite music festivals every year, Sing, I want to ask you, though, how are you doing? How's your family holding up throughout this pandemic that's been going on as we've been going back and forth from 3 to a little bit of 2 to who knows what's going to happen in the future? How are you guys holding up?
Well, thanks so much for asking. You know, it's been a very challenging time for a lot of the folks here in music industry. Obviously, we've been trying to find ways of making our audiences, you know, connect with our music through the virtual space. And of course, my family, who's very involved in music, it's been quite the challenge. But we've had an opportunity to really develop new pathways and channels, and we're really excited about what we're doing. And so things are going better. I know it's been sort of a back and forth, but we're excited to move forward.
Well, with Sing, the Toronto Vocal Arts Festival has always been a staple point around this time of the year. For folks who've never heard of this, what is it exactly? Because let's face it, if you want to talk about the most purity festival when it comes to singing, I think this would be the one.
Well, yeah, I mean, so Sing, the Toronto Vocal Arts Festival, is focused on giving voice to the voice, the vocal arts, particularly a cappella music, which means it's singing with no instruments, and performing at full capacities of vocal bands. So you're right, it's a very pure art form. It focuses on really the human element. But you'd be surprised. You might be fooled into thinking you hear an instrument here or there because our artists are very adept at creating incredibly interesting and intricate sounds with just their voices. And it's been going on for 9 years now, particularly focused on this art form. And here in Toronto, which is a hotbed of development of a cappella music, we found love from audiences. We found artists from around the world who'd like to be here and support the vocal arts, and we found artists across Canada who really made Toronto their home for making a cappella music just with the voice. So if you have a friend if you sing in the shower, if you've ever been somebody who's been in choir, if you've ever heard the movie Pitch Perfect, you'll know the a cappella genre, and you'll find lots of that at the Sing Festival.
Now, of course, I'm used to being able to go and see these great performances, being part of the workshops we're going to be talking about, but of course this is a different type this year. How has Sing changed into the virtual sense because of what's going on right now and still provide great entertainment and participation with the audience?
That's a great question. As you might imagine, with a very human art form, it's all about interpersonal contact, people talking to people, people singing with people. So for us, it was a big challenge to move online, but we found a really good way of doing that. So everything has gone virtual, but a lot of our performances are recorded live and then broadcast virtually, and a lot of our workshops are live and interactive. And so we have this sort of hybrid model where, yes, it is, the way you access it is through the internet, so singtoronto.com, but you can feel like you're really there. It's a little closer than, if you did just a pre-recorded concert, you were sort of buying a ticket to see it. And there's lots of that happening as well. But I think we've managed to sort of transform into this interesting hybrid of feeling live but being accessible virtually. Particularly with the way that things are going in the world right now, that's kind of the best you can get. So we're excited to be able to put that on both in concert and in workshop. And I'm particularly excited about the lineup for this year. There's a lot of really amazing artists who have contributed both content that's never before been seen, things that they've recorded that they can share, but also brand new things that were recorded during lockdown under the most strict of quarantine procedures, but specially made for the Sing Festival.
Before we get into those great artists who are part of all this, I want to go back and talk about some of the one-on-one things that we can do as fans and being part of the workshops, because I think that's going to be the most fun, especially now. What are some of the workshops that we can get involved with?
That's a great question. So on Saturday, October 3rd and on Sunday, October 4th, there are some incredible workshops from world experts who are coming virtually into the space to sort of talk about their craft and what you can do. So things I'm particularly excited with. So if you ever heard of the Real Group, which is a really a recording all-stars, incredible world touring a cappella group from Sweden, there's an amazing shop on Saturday called Recording from Home with Andrew Zedenroth from the Real Group. And that's a big thing if you've ever thought about how do I get my music out during a pandemic. Obviously, the Real Group has had a lot of experience making that happen. We have another amazing workshop with a group that is a multinational group called Accent. That they've been doing videos and recording from home for a long time, particularly in the field of vocal jazz. And Accent's doing a workshop also on Saturday, which is going to be an interactive exploration of what sort of vocal jazz is to them, and also how you can work with that medium through the medium of the internet, which is super cool. We've also got the New York Voices and the Swingle Singers both on Sunday, which is incredible, doing really amazing workshops, particularly songwriting. The Swingle Singers have a lot of amazing original works that they've put out there, and songwriting for a cappella has a specific spin that really tweaks the ear of the modern songwriter. And then but I can't wait for the New York Voices rhythm and scat. I mean, it's that sort of scat vocal style has been such a classic for jazz, and it is a really interesting art form and specific technique that you can use. And they're going to be talking about it and really getting into it and helping you to learn that technique. So whether or not you're somebody who's never done it before, or whether or not you're somebody who's a vocal jazz aficionado who wants to brush up on their skills with some of the best in the world, those sort of workshops are amazing. And, we, of course, we're peppered with lots of things from our contributors and partners around the world. If you've ever heard of anything from the collegiate a cappella space in the U.S., we've got Deke Sharon, who's sort of the grandfather of American a cappella, and Dylan Bell doing an arranging roundtable. We've got a discussion on collegiate a cappella with somebody from our partner festival, Sing Texas, talking about sort of the space there, as well as different types of workshops on techniques you might use if you're a chorister, like getting virtual rehearsals, or how to beatbox and get started with that, or something I'm also really excited about, which is, in this time of public health concern, that you want to focus on personal health. And so one of the things is vocal health that's being taught by one of our partners, Speech Appeal, talking about how you can keep your voice strong and keep singing using techniques from some of the best speech language pathologists to make your vocalists really shine.
Okay, now let's get into the concerts, because this is going to split up into two different sections, if I'm correct. Prime time, and of course my favorite, Throwback. What is this all about?
So Throwback is a recognition of our 9 years of incredible history. We've been able to bring in some of the best acts from around the world and really get magical moments here in Toronto that our audiences have had the opportunity to take part in. Now, we wanted to recognize and rebroadcast some of those. We've got incredibly high quality audio and video from years past, where you can come and take a look at some of the incredible things we've seen here in Toronto as part of the festival. So the Throwback is going to give you a chance, in case you missed the previous festival, or you'd like to see some of the things that happened in previous years, you can tune in to see some of our favorite moments. And conversely, Sing in Concert, our primetime shows, are all about new content, bringing new things created just for this year. And those primetime concerts feature some of our favorite artists and doing some things you've never heard them do before. So we've got a couple of retrospective and sort of celebration things. So Countermeasure and Retrocity are both doing never before seen footage and incredibly well produced videos ready to go and show all the things about what they've been doing for the past many years, and also in the past year as we were all into lockdown. And then, of course, we've got really cool shows and focuses like Oh Canada, which we've had in the past, which focused on Canadian songwriters, and particularly focusing on our guest, Tom Wilson, who's going to be doing an amazing, amazing job. I mean, I've heard some of the things that came out of the recording with him. I can't, you're going to be astounded. And then, of course, some of our good friends, like Cadence and BeatSync and Free Play and InstaChoir, putting on shows focused on, giving you a really good look into what it would be like if you were doing it live, but giving you a virtual experience instead. One that I think really is not to be missed. Both those types of shows are fantastic. We really love seeing the history of the festival and a cappella in Canada, but we're excited to be presenting and showcasing some of the newest stuff coming out.
Wow. This sounds incredible. How do we as fans get involved with this? Where do we go? Website, everything. How do we get part of all this?
Well, thanks for propping up a plug. You can hit up singtoronto.com. Literally just singtoronto.com. And of course, that's where you get tickets and passes. Things are pretty, we made things relatively inexpensive. We want to make sure that this is an accessible festival. So there's things like, concert passes and full festival passes that are very inexpensive. For $75, you can see the whole festival, which is, it's a huge number of events and workshops. And even single events are $15. So those are relatively inexpensive and, certainly scaled for what we are expecting from a virtual audience. But I got to tell you, this is some of the best entertainment I've ever seen, and I've been watching and listening to a cappella for my whole life. So singtoronto.com, or of course go on Facebook, find Sing the Toronto Vocal Arts Festival, and at Sing Toronto on Twitter and things like that. You can catch all of those different socials to find the virtual event information. But once again, our hub is singtoronto.com.
Amazing. My friend, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. Thank you for you guys to keep this great festival going. It's going to be amazing when we talk for the 10th anniversary, and I get to ask, so how did things go last year?
We're all excited.
And hopefully when we talk, it'll be in person, and that folks will be able to get out there and enjoy this great music.
Well, thank you so much for having us, and thank you for supporting, virtually live music in Toronto, particularly in a cappella. We're really excited to be putting this on right now, right when everything is kind of starting to open up a little bit. We're going to take the opportunity to shine with vocal music in front of the whole world. Cannot wait. Again, thank you so much for the interview. Be safe and looking forward to this great music. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.